Oktoberfest by American Pinball.
All right, why don't you kick it off for Alice Cooper while I dig through all our photos?
All right, so the next up is for our hot take impression, not a review, is Alex Cooper's Nightmare Castle. This is a game that we played for the first time as well.
It's the second time for me. I played it once at Pinburg last year, but I guess that was not a production game. So this is our first time playing the production game for sure.
I want to start off with some of the highs on this game, and I was very impressed with the art and the display.
Mm-hmm.
The art package is really good. The display style is like this kind of comic book look, and it's just really well done.
Yeah, they nailed this. This is a beautiful game. The playfield's awesome. There's tons of sculpts, custom sculpts on the playfield, all the like cool stuff you would want in a pinball machine. It's there. Looks great. I don't think you could ask for a better looking game than this one.
No, they did a really good job. This is their best effort in terms of presentation, I think. It's a really, really good job. Again, we couldn't hear the sounds, unfortunately, because it was at the show, so we can't weigh in on that. Rules, you kind of just have a very basic grasp. You're going through this castle, and you're kind of following, trying to find the monster, and by hitting shots, you can kind of go left and right through the castle. And then when you find the monster, you battle the monster.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There looks to be like there's a number of monsters in there, 8, 9, 10, something like that.
Yeah.
So you can change the monster you're fighting as well. Toys to speak of, there's a guillotine that kind of goes up and down. I didn't really even notice it at first. On my first play, it took the second game that I played that I saw it there.
Maybe if you pop a spotlight on it or something, it'll make it stand out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool molds back there, so it's easy to kind of miss. But that's sort of the one toy that I noticed in the game.
There's also the Frankenstein. He pops up behind the castle there. So until you get that multi-ball started, you don't see him, but he's in there.
Okay, so I never saw that.
Yeah, it's got a pretty significant upper playfield with a number of shots up there too. It's pretty tough. Like you weren't there, but Taylor from this Flippin' podcast and Jeff from the Pinball podcast and we all played with Charlie Emery. We played a game of this, and watching him play it, you can see that it's a game. It's got tight shots on it. That's what everybody says about it, and it's true. But you watch him play it, and you see him, like, you can tell it's a game that once you play it and you find the shots, you're going to be able to get dialed in. And like, for example, the upper playfield, he said everybody, once it gets up here, they just flail, but what you really got to do is trap it, make your shot, and be real deliberate about your shots on the upper playfield, because it is kind of tough to hit stuff if you're just flailing around.
Yeah, I thought the upper playfield was interesting.
Yeah.
And, in terms of the layout of this game, which is, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's the most important thing in a pinball machine. I like it because it's interesting and different. So I'm always somewhat engaged when there's a new layout or, some new shots that I got to learn or just a different approach I need to take for a pinball machine. With that said, this game to me is way too tight of shots, way too tight. Like, I look at some of the shots, I'm like, can a pinball even fit in there? Again, I don't get it. I don't get it with Rob Zombie kind of suffered from some tight shots, but this took it even to the more extreme. And it's not that I dislike pinball machines or think they can't have some shots that are tight. That's fine, but this is just packing in as many shots as you can. And what I noticed through playing and watching other people play is that you're going to brick a lot of shots. And what that means when you're bricking shots too is that you're hitting posts. A lot of times in games when you miss a shot, you're hitting something in a pinball machine. Usually a target that's registering points, making some kind of progress. In this, like 80% of the time, because the shots are so tight, you're going to be bricking into a post that does nothing. And that, to me, was not fun. It became frustrating. It was kind of a bummer because I like this. I like kind of the idea of this game. I like how it looks. I like the idea that they have for sort of the story that you're going through. Mm-hmm. The presentation is good on the display, but it wasn't fun to shoot. And even when I made a shot, it was more of a relief than a satisfaction that I found from that. Honest to God, it's like if you just took out one shot, it might have been sort of a game that still had some tight shots, but much more makeable. And it's not a good experience, again, for players to brick. And I'm a person who plays a lot of pinball. Mm-hmm. And if I'm bricking that much, how are some other people who are casual going to respond to that. I don't know. Just kind of it gets a pass from me in terms of not wanting to buy it or just because of the layout. And there's some interesting shots. I think I like the fact that Charlie kind of thinks differently and puts a different perspective on his games. I also think that he almost needs, after he kind of has an idea, to have somebody who's been designing for maybe 20 years look at it and be like, you might want to tweak it this way or take this shot out, and then you're going to get something really interesting and good.
Yeah, I think they are. Well, like I said, I think this is a game, once you get the shots dialed in, you'll be good. As Steve Bowden said, tight but findable. I think that's even more applicable here than it was on Houdini. And they're also building some interesting things into the code to kind of compensate, I think, for the difficulty of the shots. Like that the ball lock behind the drop target, you can kind of bring that in at any time to assist with your modes that you're trying to get through and use a multi-ball to work your way through the game. Kind of like you do on TNA, right? Like it's a tough game, it's brutal, but if you bring in the multi-ball, that gives you some freedom, some safety to kind of play through these tougher shots. I get, they're as Keith Elwin says, the kinetic satisfaction of the shots, I think, is what is lacking. Like, it doesn't feel like super satisfying. So I got that T2 and I was playing it, and like comboing those ramps feels awesome when you do that. And I don't get that with the shots on here as much, but I think it's a game, once you get dialed in, even you saw Bowen Cairns playing it on the stream, and even he was breaking shots. Eventually you get dialed in, but it's going to be a tough game for your average player for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to come back to that point. It's not just that you miss a shot, but on almost every other pinball machine that I can think of or look at, when you miss a shot, you usually hit like a target. That might not be your primary shot, but you still get that kinetic satisfaction. Oh, I at least hit something.
Right.
This is you're bricking into posts like I've never seen in a game before.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, you can see
There's
that picture.
A lot of posts, a lot of shots, a lot of posts.
Littered with posts. And again, even like Houdini, they had targets, right?
Yeah.
Instead of posts. That presented a problem with the targets kind of moving back and forth. But at least you were hitting something, right? You can program some kind of reward for hitting those targets and bricking.
Yeah. So overall, thoughts as a total package on Alice Cooper after playing it a few times at the show. What do you think?
What about Alice Cooper?
Yeah, overall thoughts, impressions.
So it's a game that I would almost consider buying. Like having buying thoughts. Like, is this a game I want? Was this a game I would spend money? If it wasn't for those the tight shots, it's too much. It's got too many shots in the game. You take one out, and it probably would have been a much better game. But I think they did a fantastic job in just the art and the presentation. So I like the direction that the company's going in with that.
Yeah, for sure. I came around a little bit on it. I was not real hot on it after playing it at Pinburg, but I think the production game shoots better than the prototypes. So if you've played it in the past year or so at shows, definitely give the production models a shot. And I like it. Would I buy it? I would need more time on it. So we'll see. It's to be determined. But otherwise, I think they see the importance of having the full package. If you want to, these are games that are people are putting in their houses. You want something beautiful, looks good, sounds good. We don't know about the sound because it was too loud, but from a visual perspective, they nail it. Looks great. Displays awesome. So good job, Spooky.
Chances are we'll be streaming it maybe in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So our friend James is, I think, getting his delivered tomorrow. So he's going to make sure it's all set up and playing great, and then we'll get out there and bring you guys some more action on that.
Yeah. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
All right.
James is the man. Let's talk about Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. Let's not waste too much time. Thunderbirds in 30 seconds. The game fucking sucks. Let's move on.
Don't buy it. It's garbage.
It's garbage. It's garbage in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
I don't even want to justify more words on that.
I'll expand a little bit. The shots are not satisfying. The one we played had the metal center ramp, which makes it a little better.